We back from Brother from Inglewood podcast coming to you live and direct. It's good to be back in the studio with Charley Mack, and we've got an interesting topic today, and I think you're gonna really enjoy this. And before I really get into the logistics of it, I'm gonna just throw it to Charley Mack.
Hey, how you guys doing? We back to give you guys some more exciting spiel on our opinion about this particular topic. But before we get into it, I want to let you guys know that we don't own the rights to this music. So without further ado, you guys go ahead and strap those seatbelts on and get ready for a bumpy ride.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well said. Well said. Yeah, just the idea of you mentioning this topic really brings back so many memories, and
That's why I brought it up.
yeah, it's really befitting as we get ready to introduce this topic. But we want to say this: thank you for following, and we want you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with others. Let them know that we are on these platforms to share information and create dialogue. And before I even go any further into it, I just want to say thank you. We do appreciate you tuning in and following along and commenting. And what we want you to really start to do is put something in the comments, and then that'll give us some incentive to talk more in detail, or even kind of determine what some of the things that you guys might be interested in hearing.
Right, like if there's something in particular that you guys may want us to discuss, put it in the comment, and we'll go ahead and dissect it and dig through it and get it going.
Absolutely. So the topic today that we're going to discuss is, when was the first time you realized you were black?
Wow.
Wow. When was the first time you realized you were black?
Listen to that, guys. I mean, you have to just, what we're saying, when was the first time you realized you were black? We know that we were black, but we're talking about when was the first experience where you knew that you were black, to where you were like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't mind me giving a shot at it, I really, as a small kid,
Okay.
Especially growing up with you guys and us, always, we sharing everything. We doing everything. All of our experiences are together first and foremost.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, we're going to see our cousins, right?
Right.
So we're all getting together, and what I really came to really understand at an early age, I would say, 5, 6, I'll just say even 7, right? Okay. When we would sit around, I don't know if you remember, but we would always sit around critiquing each other's skin tone, okay, and hair texture,
okay,
and you remember how Poonie would always say, "I'm prettier than y'all. My skin is smooth."
Did he say that?
Yeah. He used to always say how smooth, and he did. He had gorgeous skin, right?
Yeah.
But we all did. We had great skin, but he would always emphasize that. I'm dark and I got the smooth skin. That still wasn't. It didn't click for me.
Right.
It didn't help me realize that I'm actually a black male child.
Okay.
But I think when we started getting a little older,
okay,
and you guys were taking me to Hawthorne Mall.
Oh, okay.
I was, what I'm saying, I would say around 10, 11 years old when I'm puppy trailing you guys around and we going into those suburban areas. Remember, Hawthorne was pretty much all white.
Pretty much. It was all white.
Okay, so I think that was really my first encounter that my skin color was a factor.
Okay, so did something in particular happen to you?
Yeah.
And okay, let's talk about it.
I think during that time, let's just say we traveled to the Hawthorne Mall.
Right.
Okay. I'm like, maybe 8, 9 years old.
Okay.
Right. And
I think younger.
We definitely was younger.
We started younger.
We started much younger.
We did it for years.
Right. And so when I realized that every time we went into a store or every time we went into the arcade, there was always some white person that scrutinized it. Like, well, what are you doing here? And, or, you guys are not supervised. So it was that thing where I felt I was confronted with, they think I'm stealing. I got confronted in the Hawthorne Mall that I was probably in there stealing.
Really?
Yeah. And I was, I was really young, and I'm like, I was offended by that.
Wow.
So that was really when I realized, hey, I didn't know at the time, 7, 8 years old. Right. I didn't know I was being stereotyped.
Right. You couldn't define what racism was.
I didn't know what it was.
No, me either.
I didn't know what it was. But that was when I started looking at myself and saying, man, like they don't like my kind or something.
That's funny.
But that was how, at that young age, that's how I was rationalizing. They don't like my kind. I wasn't saying, oh, they're racist. Wow. Because I didn't know what racism was because Mom didn't teach that. Really Dad didn't teach that.
They did. We wasn't raised that way.
We wasn't raised that way.
We wasn't raised with the hate seed planted in us.
Right.
So we were pretty naive to racism.
Yeah.
Because we didn't experience that growing up in the neighborhoods that we grew up in, because pretty much all the neighborhoods we grew up in was all black.
Right.
But that's so funny. You done?
Yeah.
All right. Let me get a stab at it. So. It's so funny that you say that and you remember that in terms of the Hawthorne, because that's when I remember it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you my story. Mm-hmm. So I remember when we would all get together on a hot summer morning on a Saturday, and pretty much all during the week when it was summertime when we were out of school.
Yeah.
After we would do our chores, mow the lawn, whatever it was that Don had us do.
Yeah.
We would do that, and then we would gather up our little friends in the neighborhood, and we would head to the Lennox swimming pool.
Yeah.
And we would walk to the pool.
Yeah.
And the pool was probably 2.5 miles from where we lived, and but as little kids, you walked everywhere. Because back then, in the
it was safer too.
In the 70s and in the late 70s, you could do that.
Yeah.
As little kids.
Yeah.
But I remember a particular time where we would always go to Lennox Pool, and the thing about Lennox Pool was the city of Lennox has always been pretty much Latino.
Yeah.
And it's still that way. Yeah. And we can remember in the 70s, it was all Latino.
Yeah.
So now it's all Latina. It's like Little Guadalajara. You go to Lennox.
Yeah.
But the Latinos was cool with us.
Yeah.
We swam together.
Yeah.
It was probably 50% Latina, 40% black and other in the pool. But we all
got along.
We all got along in a sense.
Yeah.
But I remember one day where. And this is where the whole naive kid comes into play. One day we walked to the Hawthorne Pool. I don't know if you remember this. We went to the Hawthorne Pool with a bunch of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do the same thing that we did at Lennox Pool, whatever. We jumped in the pool and the white people jumped out.
Yeah. Patrick was with us. remember Patrick and his sister?
I remember. They jumped
came here
out
from St. Louis.
Yep. I remember them.
We was all together.
Real
dark patch.
You remember that?
Yeah. I do remember that.
And that was my first time when I realized that, like,
what's going on?
What are they doing? Why they jumping out of the pool? Why they don't want to be in the pool with us?
Right.
We just little nappy-head black kids want to have a good time. We not trying to hurt nobody.
Right. We just wanted to swim.
We're friendly with everybody.
Yeah.
We just want to swim.
Yeah.
And I think we went to the Hawthorne Pool that one time, and I don't think we ever went back.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop us from coming to the pool, but we knew they didn't want us there.
I don't know if you remember, and I could have it mixed up. It could have been Lennox where this particular thing happened.
Okay.
Do you remember one time we were swimming and all of our clothes
was gone?
Got wet. They was just like, it was almost like
somebody just dumped them in the water and just brought them out.
They threw our stuff
Yeah.
Because they hang your stuff
in
up
that
in
little
those
green bag.
Exactly.
The little green bag with the little pin.
Our
Give them
stuff,
quarter.
all of our stuff was wet.
I remember that.
I don't know if that was Hawthorne's experience or if it was Lennox.
I'm gonna tell you something.
But I remember that happening, and all the blacks. It was just us.
Right.
All our clothes was wet, but nobody else's was wet.
I think that was Lennox because even though we didn't experience a lot of racism at Lennox,
yeah,
I experienced a little bit of it in terms of there were times when we kind of got into it with a few of the Latinos there or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was still a little bit there.
It was tension there,
right?
And then you have to understand that was really their park. We was coming to Lennox Park, and then I don't know if you remember the Lennox 13. They used to congregate.
Heck yeah, I remember.
But they didn't bother us.
No.
They didn't bother us,
no.
But you could tell they would have meetings in that park.
Right at the park.
Yeah, man. And, and they were serious.
I remember
tattoos everywhere.
I remember that park.
And but I think because we were small kids, and these guys were already
like 16, 15, 17 years old.
They were full blown.
Right. We were like, we were kids. 8, 9, 10
we were
years
kids,
old. Right, right.
But I remember even with them sort of saying, it could have been they was talking to Suki. Yeah. But I remember one time they made it clear, this is our part.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh no, we knew that.
Like, don't get it
twisted. This is our part.
Y'all
we just
swimming.
Yeah.
Can't come on.
Y'all just visiting.
Exactly. Yeah.
You guys are visitors.
Right. But as far as that being a confrontation of or an indication that our colors were different, it started to come into play when I was in that Hawthorne Mall. That's when I knew, okay, something's not right.
Yeah, that Hawthorne Mall was something else.
Something's not right with this. Whereas in Lennox, it was more of a territorial, like, don't think y'all coming over here to take over our stuff.
We're going to let you guys come in here, but don't get too comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but Hawthorne, we knew that they didn't want us there.
Right. So fast forwarding, I think, yes, that's when I realized that there was a difference in my skin color and my, background, so to speak. Like I realized, okay, I must be different because they treating me different, but it's not a comfortable feeling, right? So let me fast forward just a little bit. Now, when I was at Center Park, I had a few white teachers.
Me too.
So Miss Parker was a white woman, and she didn't seem biased. She didn't seem racist. She didn't, in other words, she didn't seem like she had her favorites or anything like that.
Right.
So I believe she began to explain to the children in a roundabout way to feel confident about yourself. Because she used to ask us to do, little drills like, what do you want to be when you get older?
That's cool.
Things like that. So I think it was that initial indication in Hawthorne to help me realize, wow, I'm a black male, and it's not welcomed everywhere. So I think, like you can relate to really negative situations that brought you into the awareness of your skin tone and even your race.
Yeah, because you have to understand, we were such green kids and so naive where, mom and dad, and even when, Don came into play, they didn't have to warn us about, okay, you guys are black and, you can't be out like, we never had that talk.
No.
So even for them, obviously, they wasn't raised with that hate seed implanted in them either, because they never tried to warn us about being black in America.
Because I think also they knew that there was boundaries all around LA County, because Dad came from Texas, right? He was raised here and all that, but Mother and her family, they was country, man.
Right.
Big Daddy, Big Mama, they was country. Right. So they already had a perception of racism. Right. They experienced it. They knew it at its highest level. So really, Big Daddy was the one that would always say, don't get into it with them folks. Don't give them a reason.
Right.
You know, come in. Remember how you used to talk to Aunt Sandra and Uncle Kenny like, look, don't be walking them streets, them Newton boys.
Oh, yeah, he did say that. I remember that.
You know,
yeah.
And then he would always refer to them folks, you know, you can't trust them.
Right.
You know, and things like that. So he didn't really use the racism word, but he did give flash warnings like, hey, do not be in the wrong place at the wrong time. These people will take you down for nothing.
You know, and it's so funny because none of our aunts and uncles never really talked to us about racism.
No.
And so obviously Big Mama and Big Daddy didn't plant that seed in them either.
No.
And they could well, you know what? Since we're talking about race, I never forget this story. And this was between, I never will forget this. So I'm a little kid at the time, probably 8 or 9. Maybe 8 or 9. And I never will forget this. I can remember this dude like it was yesterday. So I was at Big Mama's them house. You know, Mom used to always take us down there.
Yeah.
So I think I'm standing in the hallway, right in the living room in Big Mama's door.
Okay.
And she was lying in bed, so I go, you know, I was a big, huge $6 Million Man fan.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
Steve Austin.
Yeah.
So anyway, I remember telling Big Mama, Big Mama, do you know that the Bionic Man Steve Austin, he got a big mansion in this city and he got this car or whatever? You know what she told me?
What?
She said, so damn what? Sammy Davis Jr. got 10 Cadillacs. She said that.
Wow.
Like I'm praising this white man,
Right.
but I don't know any better.
Right.
And then she rebutted and was like, well, Sammy Davis Jr. got it jerking as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. She was really
mad though.
I was just gonna say that. She was really
I had never seen her like that before.
She was venting about what you really didn't know.
Right.
Because she lived it.
Right.
And she was like,
and she knew she was, you know,
she put a seed in your head like, no, don't be looking up to them.
Right.
Because
when you have someone to look up to.
Right.
As a black role model. And at the time, Sammy Davis Jr. was the guy. He was that, you know, he was the one.
He was the pinnacle of success for
a black
entertainers.
Right.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Right. He was the one that, you know, would he was like, oh yeah, you know, he's the credit to their race. Right. Sammy Davis Jr. But I remember that though, dude. She was hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have to understand, she caught the brunt of racism where she was from as a little girl.
1922. Man.
Yeah. Even though she looked like a white woman when she was younger.
Right.
She was very, very, very fair.
Yeah.
But she caught the brunt as a little black girl growing up in the South.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Arkansas.
Right.
She caught the brunt. So she had been mistreated at some point.
Right.
And you know, Jim Crow laws was going on back then.
Yeah,
it was Jim Crow back then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, now I remember that. She was,
you know, because she's actually a child of a slave. You know,
a descendant.
She's a descendant of slaves because, put it like this, her grandparents were slaves.
Right.
Now her parents were kids born
in slavery.
Right.
But her parents were slaves.
Exactly.
Of course.
You know, I think of like the 1800s. Like let's just say
1870s,
50.
In the 1850s.
Let's just say 1850. Well, slavery was still going on.
Yeah.
I don't think slavery really was abolished until like 1860 or 1859.
It was right around.
You know,
it was right around during the Civil War when Lincoln had. But only some slaves were free. Right. In the South. Yeah, it was only certain slaves were free, but then it was still slavery in other parts.
Right. So when I think about this topic, I'm thinking now that I understood what I experienced as a kid, and today's time, it's everywhere. Black Lives Matter.
Oh yeah.
We have all these, you know, the NCAA. I mean, not the NCAA, but the
NAACP.
So we have these organizations that are on the front line all over again.
Right.
And now it's like you can't suppress it.
No.
Nobody. It's everywhere. It's on people's cell phone. It's on the news. It's on social media.
Yeah, you can't sweep it under the rug
People
anymore.
walk around with shirts with labels.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I am black.
Yeah.
You know, black man. So now it's almost like now that we're having this conversation again, what you gonna do about it? Where's the resolve?
Right.
Because out of all of and this is what I'm taking from this subject. Out of everything that's happening, why aren't we coming together and getting closer as black people?
Because man, that right. I think about that every single day, and you know, my little entertainment every day. I go home when I get off work early in the morning. I'll come home and I'll throw on World Star Hip Hop.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And I'll just, man, let me tell you something, man.
Is that like the underground media?
No. That's like the ghetto version of YouTube. You know, it's just, I mean,
I've been hearing about it for like the last 10 years.
They put anything you can imagine. They put it on a World Star Hip Hop, and they were showing all these black people in Miami this past weekend.
Yeah, I saw
fighting,
that.
and you know, you got all these young black women in the middle of the street twerking they bud and doing that, and it just makes you say to yourself, this is the reason why we as black people, we keep getting pushed further behind and behind and behind, because if they're still doing that stuff in the 21st century, you know, white America and everybody else is looking like, see, look, you know, and it's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing.
It's these young millennials, man. It's these, like I told you, we spoke on a podcast before. It's these kids that grew up in the crack era. The mothers and father who didn't raise these kids. The kids right now that's in their 30s, early 30s and mid 30s. You know, a lot of those kids, especially in the South, they were born to crackhead mothers and fathers. And no, not that I'm talking about it, but they were raised by their grandparents or someone else. And the grandparents would go to raise them. They were just in the house with shelter and food. But the grandparents didn't really raise them.
No.
And that's these, like I told you, those kids raised themselves. And we gotta, it's a product of that.
And look at I agree 101%. I mean, I also look at this, and this makes me cringe. When I look at social media, bro, and I see people our age, 50, and up, running to restaurants. Hasn't been any clubs really out since pandemic,
right.
But still doing the things that they did at 25.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about these people got jobs.
Yeah.
These people but it's like you got Fendi bags. You got you taking selfies of yourself in a restaurant over a meal, over the pretty food, and then you're going to different locations and you just snapping pictures of. I'm like, at our age,
it's maturity, man. Some people are still behind the 8 ball, and they haven't really grown out of those teenage or young adolescent habits when they were doing all that. Sometimes, man, you have to evolve, and if you're not evolving, then you're gonna be stuck.
See, because you're right. Because
this evolution, man.
And maybe this is just me, because I'm always thinking about the youth. I'm always thinking about what example are we showing the young people, because they're watching social media. They're growing up under. They're growing up under these illusions of I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be the next Diana Ross. I'm gonna be the next, Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the next LeBron, Kobe. And I'm not against, and believe me, I'm not against aspirations to excel. I'm not against having dreams to be a professional athlete. I'm not against all that. But can we create a foundation here? Can we help the young people understand that, yes, your skin tone matters. Yes, your race matters. And one of my favorite authors, he wrote a book that was titled Race Matters. You know, Cornel West.
I love Cornel West.
And I went through his book several times, and I'm like, I get it. I understand that no matter how good we are, no matter how intelligent we are, no matter how strong and we're still looked upon as black people.
Of course.
Now, we as black people shouldn't feel bad about that. I'm proud to be black.
Of course.
I mean, some people, if they had it all over to do again, they want to be another race. Not me. I mean, you know, it hasn't been as bad as some people think it has been for them, and all of our experiences are different. But I'm proud to be black.
Oh yeah, me too.
You know, I'm excited about, you know, who I am and my contribution, and even seeing our fellow man excel. I'm not a hater.
Yeah.
I want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
I want to see people experience victory. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not going to condone ignorance.
Oh, it's a lot of that out there, man. I was thinking about that. Is you know, you took these pop, and I don't think white America really realizes that you got a lot of these hip hop guys out there now, and I'm not talking about the old school guys from the 80s in our era. I'm talking about these new guys that's in there from the let's say from the ages of like 22 to about
31.
No, to about 38, 39.
Okay.
There's a few of them about that age, but these guys come from the absolute slums
the bottom
of the ghetto.
The bottom.
The bottom.
Yeah.
And now you took a guy that was eating syrup sandwiches and, you know, eating cereal with water and living in
haven't seen their parent. They single parent in days.
Right, living in a probably a 2-bedroom a tenement with probably 8 people. Then the next day you give him $5 million. What do you think he's gonna? How do you know he's not even educated enough to understand what he has just got dropped in his hand, and that's who's out there.
Yeah.
The first thing they do is go run and spend $1 million on jewelry, which is the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
People already know who you are. People already know that you're a hip hop artist and you're popular and you got, you know,
selling barricades,
20 million followers.
Yeah.
You don't have to do all that, but that's what they know. Yeah. You know, you got a guy that came from the bottoms and now you give him $5 million. What do you think he's gonna do? Yeah. It's like someone who grew up very, very poor, and then next thing you know, tomorrow they win the lottery for $200 million. Yeah. They're not gonna know how to act.
They're not gonna know how to
act, and they're not gonna know how to act. But so for me, man, you know, me looking at us as black people, and especially the young black millennials, man, we won't be here if it get right. I don't see it. Yeah. Evolving into where it's like really positive to where, you know, you can just I just don't see it, man, because there's so much disconnect to where it's unreal. It's a lot of disconnect, man.
So now that we've both realized at a younger age that we were black males, what was that dynamic like for you moving forward from there? Let's just start at the Hawthorne incident, the swimming pool. Once you realize that there is separatism, division, racism, bigotry, bias, you know, treatment in society, did that change you? Did that anger you? I mean, once you realized that you were black, how did Charley Mack move forward from there?
You know what? It never really angered me. It probably more so made me aware of how the world was, and from that point on, moving forward, I was just I think it made me wiser, and it made me say like, oh wow, you know, I guess we do get treated a little differently because of the color of our skin, and I can remember, and you have to understand something too. This was a time right when Roots came out.
Yeah.
I remember we were so young that we had to go to bed at like 8 or something, so we really couldn't watch the whole thing through because we had to go to bed.
Yeah, we did.
But it was right around that time, because I think Roots came out right around like 77, 78, right around that era. Yeah. So, for the young millennials out there and the young kids now, I think that's a mini series that I think they should. I was gonna say I think they should show it in schools. But you probably had the black kids ready to kill the white kids if they showed that in schools. But just like people don't know this, Spike Lee's movie "Do the Right Thing." Oh, it's shown in colleges.
Yeah. Professors.
Yeah, professors. Yeah.
History.
And there's a lot of movies,
sociology. Yeah,
there's
right.
And that's when I had said about like another thing about this whole race thing. Until they teach white America the black struggle, I was saying that they should teach black social skills and the black struggle. If they would have taught that in schools from an early age up until this point now, it would probably be a lot of white people that wouldn't be racist, and they would understand the struggle of how it is to be black versus the white privilege.
Yeah, it would have helped because you're talking about a system. It's systemic.
Right.
It was created at the beginning of time, right? I think when I think about my experience of coming into realization that I was different in ethnicity and in color, it made me want to prove them wrong. Okay. It made me want to do better, be better. It made me strive harder, and it definitely made me never to put our parents in a bad light.
Right.
Because embarrass them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it really helped me to be conscious of doing the right thing. Not perfection, but I wanted to do the right thing because I felt like when we were athletes, they told us this. They said, listen, you're representing your parents, yourself, and your community.
Right.
They all, Coach Franklin, when I got into high school, that's all he emphasized. And Coach Harold Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Coach HB, Harold's father.
Oh, yeah, because he was a country boy from Texas.
From Texas. So, and he was educated.
Was he?
Yeah, he was educated.
Okay.
And you never would think that he was like this pro-academic guy.
Oh, wow.
But he always emphasized
education.
At the end of practice, he always told us, make sure we stay on top of our homework and blah, blah, blah. And he told us, he would always say, and stay away from the booze and women. Wow. And we were kids.
I know, that's funny.
But he would always say that. That was like his saying. But I say all that to say is that you had some conscience leaders that were in your community that gave you these little nuggets. And I always, kind of kept that in the front of my mind because we had a standard at home. Even though we all got out of the barn and ended up doing what we wanted to do, right. Bro, it was a standard at the pad.
Oh, I know.
We had to cook, we had to clean, we had to work in the yard.
Go sort those dirty clothes from the whites and the colors.
What about washing them walls?
Oh man, I used to hate washing walls.
And like, dude, is it coming off or what?
And she would give us a warning, like, it's wall weekend Saturday. Y'all washing walls this weekend. I'm like, damn.
So man. Yeah, man. So I think that helped me when I realized that it was biasness and there was a difference being made. And then even when we were athletes, they would always scrutinize us at quarterback.
Oh yeah,
they're still doing that to this day. Oh yeah. And I remember, and I'm gonna throw it to you and let you close us out.
Okay.
But I just remember this one thing. I gotta share this story.
Okay.
I was working for the county of Los Angeles, animal care and control.
Dog
catcher. Canvassing this area in Carson.
Okay.
And so I got my index in my hand. I got my little gadget, to fight off the loose ones. and I guess who I run into? I run into Jamel.
Okay.
So I'm on Jamel's street. I knew he lived in Carson, but
you didn't know exactly where.
Yeah, so he's like, I can hear somebody like, who? And I'm like, I turn around, it's Jamel Holloway, right?
Okay.
So we chop it up, and at the end of the day, he said, listen, bro, I want to write a book.
Okay.
I said, oh, you can. If anybody can, you can.
Man.
He was like, man, I want to write a book about he said, basically, he was like the lie that they've been telling and trying to convince society
all these years
that black quarterbacks aren't smart enough to play the position.
Right.
And I said, bro, you the one who can write it.
Man.
Because he mastered
Oh, I know. You're going to tell
and
me.
excelled at that position.
Yeah.
You know, and so those were the kind of things, man, that let me know that, yes, we got to be twice as good.
Yep.
We got to be twice as focused.
Yep.
And we cannot leave any doubt in anyone's mind that we can achieve.
Yeah.
That was the eye opener.
That's cool
for me. So I'm gonna throw it to you, and you can close us out. You can have the
Okay. Quick story because this just happened. What's the day? Monday. This just happened Saturday, I think. So since we're talking about the whole race thing, we have to, as black men in particular, we have to really be careful about confrontation with white America or Asian America or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was probably 6:30 in the morning. I'm driving. I'm picking up somebody from the Renaissance. So I pull up to the Renaissance. It's an Uber X. Well, Uber X now. You don't know, you haven't driven in a while, but Uber X now is 3 people. They've gotten rid of the pool.
Oh.
Pool is gone. Since pandemic, pool been gone, and I don't think it'll ever come back.
Good.
Thank you. For real.
Good.
Yeah. So I pull up. It's an Uber X. So I pull up to the Renaissance. I look. It's 2 white men. They're babies because they were gay. They're babies. And like 4 big gigantic suitcases. So I pull up. Listen. Listen. That's why I say, as a black man, we end up dealing with white privilege and racism all the time.
Okay.
So I pull up and I get out the car, and you know me, I don't take no mess. I look. I'm like, oh man, you guys need an Uber XL. It's 4 you guys. I mean, Uber X is only actually 3 people now.
Yeah.
You guys is 4 you guys plus the luggage.
Yeah.
Well, you have a van and you have enough room. I said, that's not the point. The point is, if a Uber X would have pulled up, they would have canceled you.
Right.
I'm not going to lose money just to come take you. And it's 4 you guys. And guess where they were going? 1 mile into the airport. Ooh. So I'm explaining to this guy in a very nice way, white guy. You know what he going to tell me? Well, I don't need all the technical. I said, whoa. I'm going to show you technical. And I just boned out and left. He going to tell me, I don't need the technical. Well, no, I don't need the technicality. I said, well, look, dude, the technicality is get another Uber. And I canceled him and boned out. But sometimes, man, you can find yourself getting bullied by the other. If you let them bully you, they'll bully you.
Big homie, you seen down on them?
Man, come on, man, I don't play. He gonna tell me I don't need the technicality. Well, the technicality is I'm not taking you. So good luck trying to get an Uber to take you less than 1 mile into the airport.
Got you.
If now he would have said, well, you know what, I'm sorry, but I'll give you an extra $10 just to get us in there or whatever.
Yeah, I got these small
But
kids.
dude, I'm not gonna take you just because you think you have the privilege to have somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not kissing your butt, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead and close us out, man. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
That's good.
I ain't gonna be able to do it.
That's good. Well, as always, man, great topic. Man, you be coming up with some hot.
Oh man, I'll be brainstorming, man.
I hope you heard some things that you can really apply to to your life. The insight of the topic to me is worth searching because there has been dynamics in each of our lives that really propelled us to greater success, or it has sent some of us left.
Right.
However, I think that this is a realistic topic that we were able to just kind of scratch the surface on. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to the Coalesce Group. Thank you to Fruit Off the Vine for your support and allowing us to tag along. We're always looking for sponsorship. So if you feel like this is a platform that you'd like to attach your name to, you're more than welcome. There is some information in the link. And we look forward to coming to you guys once again. And again, man, it's been great. So we're going to sign off from here. And I'll let you sign.
Peace and love.
Peace.